Welcome to the Dialed In podcast. I'm your host, Callan Hahn, registered dietitian, cellular restoration practitioner, and bodybuilder. This podcast is for high-performing women that are ready to be intentional about reaching their next level of their health, performance, and life. And here we have Jody. Jody, how are you?
Hey, Callan. I'm great. You look
So good
fabulous.
Oh, you're so sweet. Hey, I think we probably have the same stylist.
We do. And she's
Emily Loftus.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. So we should tag her in this for sure.
Oh my gosh, I love it. How's your day?
So good. So good. Busy. Closing out a week. 12 inches of snow here in South Carolina, which is not normal. So everybody's kind of spinning just a little bit to get ready for that.
Oh, you guys will be fine. Most of the time they're like, 3 inches, and then you get maybe a half an inch.
Isn't that the truth? That's exactly my feeling. Exactly my feeling.
Oh my gosh. So I want to welcome you to my entire audience because I firmly believe that you have a skill set, you have a wealth of knowledge that everyone needs. And Jody, for those of you who don't know, Jody Watkins, she is known as your budget bestie, and you help women really get control of their finances and understanding, where their money is going so that they can fully relax, calm their nervous system, and feel so good about their finances moving forward. So I'm going to allow you to do a formal introduction of yourself and kind of what led you to this position where you're at right now.
Oh, thanks, Callan. Well, super honored to be here. I don't take it lightly that you are introducing me to your audience, so thank you for that. I am a professional entrepreneur, I should say. I have my background in nursing. I have my bachelor's in nursing. I was a nursing supervisor as well as was studying to be a SANE nurse, which is a sexual assault nurse. For the majority of my career, I actually was a post-surgical cardiac nurse. So if you're having a heart attack, I'm your girl. I know what to do. Hopefully no one will need that. In 2013, I started a business that I thought would just kind of be something on the side that I would enjoy and do, maybe relieve me of one night shift at the hospital. And what happened over the next 11 years of that business is about 3 years in, 4 years, I grew it to pay me $1 million a year. So very quickly, my income went from being a nurse, living paycheck to paycheck, and then all of a sudden making more money than I ever could have dreamt or imagined. I was super thankful, super blessed, felt like it was straight from the Lord, divine, and so was trying to steward it well. And about 5 years ago, my husband looked at me and he said, "Hey, we make great money. And at the end of every month, I have no idea where it's at." Like, we are spending a lot of money every month. Now, I should say we're huge savers. We had built a dog kennel to employ special needs people. We had built a haven house where we had housed women from domestic violence. So we were doing some good things, but honestly still didn't even know what we were doing with it all, and even probably giving away sometimes when we really probably should have taken a second look and made a calculated decision about it. So it was wonderful. 5 years ago, he was like, "Let's get control of this." And so we started using an online platform that kind of helps you get control of your monthly money. Now, a lot of people that come to me and they are stressed about money, they will tell me, they'll say, "Hey, Jody, I have a financial advisor. I have a CPA. I don't think that I need you." And I want to be real clear. I am not a financial advisor and I am not a CPA. What I do is I help you see where your money's going every month, because the majority of people, what they do is they look at their bank account and they make buying decisions based on what's in their bank account. And that's not really a valid, so many of us, can I just say, obviously us, making that much money and not have known where it was going. And so, you can't really do that because we don't know, number one, what's going to happen before you get paid again or drop that money into your account from your business again. And then number two, there's a lot of things that get people into trouble because they don't plan for them, like your dog goes to the vet, like, your car needs tires, even things that we're fully aware of that happen, like Christmas. Every year, I don't know about you, but the majority of people at about September, October start to get a little bit of anxiety and start to feel like, what am I going to cut back on so that I can afford Christmas? And so what I help people do is I help them look at their monthly expenses and their non-monthly expenses and really get a good idea of what they need to live on every month. So what brought me to this was not on my radar, I should say. This was not in my 10-year plan. In July of 2024, I got on a corporate call, and that business that paid me $1 million a year actually dissolved. And so within a 15-minute phone call, I learned that I would get paid through September, and then my income would be no more. Now, thankfully, I have an incredible husband he's the one that introduced us to the budgeting system that I use and that I coach now. 5 years ago, we started using that. So we were in a good position to look at what money what our businesses were costing us. I should say I have 4 businesses, 3 brick and mortars, 2 online businesses. So it's several different businesses happening. And it allowed us to look at every single business and see where we were spending money and where we could cut back. But what I watched a lot of other people that were in that business and were high top sales people that had made a lot of money, and I knew that they were making a lot of money every month. I saw them crumble. I saw them sell their vacation home, sell their own home. I saw them panic. I saw a lot of depression. I saw a lot of stress. And not that I didn't have it. Let's be very clear. You can't go from making that much money to no money and not have some stress, but it was minimized. And because we had such a clear picture of our finances, we were able to make educated and informative decisions instead of emotional decisions. And I was watching a lot of people I knew make emotional decisions. So as I was sorting through this feeling, watching everything that was happening, I really felt like it was dropped in my spirit. I really felt like the Lord was like, you need to coach this. And let me be very clear. I first was like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, you guys, I'm learning and I know this now, but at the time I was like, I don't even know the difference between an IRA and a stock and no, I am not your financial girl, like not at all. And he really made it clear that it was because of that I would be able to speak clearly to people. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes we go meet with our financial advisor and he tells us all these wonderful things and we leave the meeting and we're like, I really have no idea what's going on, but as long as he knows, then I'm totally fine with it. Yeah. And so I really started to realize that people needed a safe place to talk about their finances. It is so gosh, it's hard, right? It is hard. I mean, it's hard to share. People think they should know. I had a gentleman actually this morning message me and he said, I'm embarrassed. Like I should know how to do this. And the truth is we should not know. I mean, just like I don't know, how to be a bodybuilder. For those of you that don't know, if you don't follow Calvin, you should know she has been there, done that. I don't know those things. I don't know this gentleman that was talking to me. He's an engineer. I don't know anything about being an engineer. And so for us to understand how to build a plan for our money and be proactive on that every single month is really not the norm. 95% of people, like I said, look at their bank account to make buying decisions. So it's nothing to feel shameful about. And so I feel like when people come to me, I can kind of help them just to relax and say, hey, there's no judgment here. Like I have been where you are, and that's why I'm so passionate about it now.
Yeah. And the real value is having an expert in whatever that may be. And this is what I love about networking with so many high-level business professionals is because when we got on our very first Iconic call, that's how we met, was through Iconic and the agency. And when we got on our first call, immediately I was like, Jody and I are going to be best friends. Because I knew in the background, I'm like, oh, she's your budget bestie. And I was like, I could be better with my money.
Sure.
I knew that there was a way that I was like, you know what, this is something that I really would find value in, because even though, yes, like my CPA, she handles all my things, she doesn't communicate with me effectively a lot of things that are going on, because I just trust She knows the language. She's going to take care of it. That's on her plate. I have other responsibilities I need to focus on and, be present with my business. So that is some level of comfort, but I am now in your program and I have the safety net of understanding where my money is going to be going moving forward.
Yeah, it is so true, Kellen, right? Because same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at first when I was listening to what you were doing, I was like, oh, she's a bodybuilder. Like she teaches people how to really, look incredible in their body, which who doesn't want? But as we got to know each other more, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much more than that. Like you talk about detoxing, you talk about looking at your environment. I mean, a great example the other day, we were on a phone call and I was sharing with you that every year about the same time, my daughter breaks out all over an eczema. And I was like, you know what? I think it's the weather. And you were like, maybe, but maybe it's the anxiety of her starting travel volleyball. And so we really started to talk through. So I love that. You're right. There's all different people that have all different expertise in different areas. And it's important to, hook up with those kind of people, just like Emily dressing us for every occasion that we have. I mean, we want the best of the best helping us, guide us on that journey.
Yeah. And the reason I say network and be proactive with other business professionals, because when you get to such a high level of expertise, there's multiple layers.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't know how well versed we are in cellular restoration and all of that, because to the outside world, that is heavy.
Yeah.
And if you were to explain some of the deep work that you work on with helping people with their budgeting, that just feels heavy. So to the outside world, anytime you're looking into coaches, get into conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because when you can get into conversation, you can really surface some of those layers that may be specific to you. And that's what I see in like the high tier coaching space is all of us can customize anything to anyone.
Yeah. That's so good.
Like
so
we've been in so many different seasons financially. We've been through so many different seasons when it comes to, health, wellness, whatever it may be, that we can serve a broad spectrum of people because we have the expanded expertise. And I think that truly is valuable, and especially for your coaching environment. You've seen both ends.
Yes.
You've seen money flowing in like crazy, and you know what behavioral patterns are associated with that.
Sure.
Money's coming in like crazy, you're going to spend like crazy.
Yeah.
But what happens, and I know this from personal experience with being in the service space, we have high and low seasons. There's some months where we'll have a lot of clients roll on, and a lot of it has to do with, the summer. Everybody wants the hot summer body. So, around spring break time, they're like, I didn't look that great in a swimsuit like I thought I needed to, but I'm really going to do it right for summer. So it's like they get that like ambition to, I really want to get in the best shape of my life. That is seasonal. But then you have, when the kids go back to school, people are thinking like, oh, we need to cut back on expenses. We don't know what our schedule is going to look like. You hear all these excuses come up.
Yeah.
And it is a reflection financially too. So people's buying behaviors, people's social, behavioral loops, all of it ties in to the relevancy of what is a priority and what's important to them.
So good. I love what you said. You said it's very heavy. And isn't that the truth? When people come to me about finances, it's a very heavy. Now, I know, just like I know, in your business, I know 45 days that they'll give me 45 days. At the end of 45 days, they will feel so much better. Not only, physically, they're sleeping better, their stress is down, they can see
dropping inflammation.
Yes, all of those things. And isn't that a great reminder? Because for you also, there's a lot of different things that you're looking at that can seem heavy or overwhelming, or what do you mean you want me to check, my whole body and see if I have any kind of parasites, or all the different things that you work through with clients can seem super heavy, but you've told me, like, people will come in and they'll be like, I don't know. But after they work with you for a little while, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to absolutely function like you're coaching me to function because I feel so much better. Same with finances. Exactly.
Yeah, and the gateway to opening up the body to some level of co-infection is stress.
For
So
sure.
if you are stressed out with your work environment, if you're stressed out with your home environment, if you're stressed out with your finances,
Yeah.
that heavy burden of stress is what allows infection, co-infection, disease to start sitting in the body. So a lot of the work that can be done on the financial spectrum as well as the health and wellness is gaining clarity, but control with understanding that what you are doing with your money is healthy.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
has to reflect with your mindset. So for anyone who is looking at budgeting from a perspective of, it's not really a priority right now, how can you rewrite the script from a mindset perspective? Because I have been through seasons of life where I'm like, oh, budgeting's not a priority. But I know for certain now that I have had the experience, it is the number one priority because it can eliminate so much stress.
yeah. I think when people think of, I mean, I tend to use the word plan instead of budget because when people think of budget, they think of it as a negative. You know, they think of it as I am not going to be able to do what I want to do, whatever that is. And the truth is, that's not what I find. As I work with clients, it actually allows freedom because then they see where they're spending their money. They make sure it aligns with the goals that they have. And then they're able to feel good about whatever they're spending in that, you know, in that category. Let me give you an example. When we first started using this system 5 years ago, again, I was making great money. My husband came up to me and he said, hey, you're making great money. It's totally fine. I just want to make sure that you're aware. Now he knew that I did not like this kind of coffee, but he said, I just want to make sure that you're aware that you spend about $367 on average per month on Starbucks. You guys, I don't care how much money I'm making. I don't even drink Starbucks. I make my coffee at home. My children like Starbucks, and I had 3 of them, 2 in high school and 1 in middle school. So every time we were headed to school, they were like, can we run by Starbucks? Well, then everybody's getting a drink. Everybody was getting food. It was $45 every time I was stopping at Starbucks. And when you start doing that 3 times a week, you spend $400 a month on Starbucks. But once I realized that, it wasn't that I wanted to take everything away, but I did tell my children, I was like, hey, we're going to stop at Starbucks on the way to church every Sunday morning. If you want Starbucks outside of that, then you either need to ask for gift cards for your birthday or use your own money because I'm not doing Starbucks. That's not where I want to spend my money. If I'm spending $367, my husband and I are going out for, steak in downtown on a date or going away for the night or something. I'm surely not spending it on coffee. That's just not a priority for me. Now, some people love it and they want to spend it. Totally fine. But that's what happens is you realize where you're spending your money and it's not right or wrong. Like people will apologize to me. I had one client one time and they made, I don't know, around $10,000 a month. And they spent about $1,600 eating out every month. And she's like, I know I shouldn't do that. Like I know. And I said, no, hold on a minute. You don't need to explain to me what your priorities are. That's a priority. She had 3 children, all 3 in travel sports. They were never home. She needed to figure out how to budget for that. And as long as she was aware of it, and that was a priority because she couldn't cook at home or didn't want to have the hassle of cooking at home, then it's fine. And so I think that is one of the things. One more story, and then I'll let you ask the next question. But I had another client that I worked with. She and her husband was a Navy SEAL. She was an Air Force pilot. I mean, they had plenty of money. And but she never spent money on herself for anything. She didn't get her hair done really. She's kind of a baseball cap kind of girl, super cute. And after we worked together, she sent me a video one day. She said, hey, I want to let you know, because she had a line item on her plan that was her spending money for the month. She said, I'm getting toward the end of the month and I noticed I hadn't really spent any money. So I'm headed to go get a massage and then I'm headed to go shop a little bit and I'm going to spend some money and treat myself. That is freedom. That is freedom. So people think of a plan or a budget, if we're using that 4-letter word, they think of it as restrictive, but that's not what I find. What I find is it's actually free. They actually realize we find money that they're spending that they don't want to spend, on those 20 apps that are totaling $300 and they didn't even know they still had them on their phone. Maybe things like that. But then they also can align their spending with their goals, whether it's vacation. I have another client goes to Martha's Vineyard every summer, several, tens of thousands of dollars. That's a priority. So we
Yeah.
work that into his plan so that every month they're saving a little bit. So when Martha's Vineyard comes up, they're just scooting away with no stress. So that is what a plan does for you. That is the misconception, and that's what I would tell people. If you can push through looking at it, because a lot of people just want to bury their head in the sand. They're like, I just don't even want to see it. It may be bad. Well, my caveat to that is it may be good. It may be exactly what you need to be doing, and you'll be pleased with what you're doing. And it's so, so important. It's important for us as our income fluctuates, like you were sharing. But I had a client that she called me crying. 30 minutes of crying. I didn't even really know why she was calling me because she hadn't told me till the very end. She said, I'm in charge of finances. I'm terrible. She said, we don't have enough money to live every month. So we built her plan. We built Target in there. We built Amazon. We built her spending money for buying clothes every month, and we built Starbucks, all the things. So a very nice plan that was not restrictive. And when we totaled it all up, it was $1,000 less than what they bring in every month. So she had plenty of money, but she was living in the space of, I don't think we have enough money. And so she was living under the stress that really was unnecessary.
Yeah. And I just want to expand a little bit more on the Starbucks context because I think there's so much relevancy to mindset.
Yeah.
When you are reframing it to saying, hey, we're going to have Starbucks one time a week. Well, in our space, a lot of people are scared to come to health and wellness over here because they're going to be like, oh, everything has microplastics in it. Callan's not going to let us eat or drink anything. Like, we're going to have to eliminate all the things. But what if your brain could fire on all cylinders and you were making healthier choices because you weren't allowing your kids to drink microplastics every single day?
For sure.
Like now you chose like, hey, we're going to have it on Sunday, but we're going to give your body a break throughout the whole week.
So good.
So there are a lot of the times when it comes to like financial decisions, you have to look a layer deeper and like, is there another reason why this is problematic?
Yeah.
Are there healthier choices that we can make? And are there healthier ways that we can look at our actual bank account? Because anything you work on, anything you pay attention to grows.
Yeah.
So if you're avoiding your bank account, you're avoiding structuring your budgeting plans, you're avoiding your finances, you're going to be at a lack of financial abundance.
Yeah. So good. If you're avoiding your health, one of our businesses, I haven't even talked about my other businesses, but I shared I have a dog kennel, a luxury dog boarding facility that employs special needs, but we also raise grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pasture poultry here on the farm, and we have a farm store. And so, gosh, once we started learning like how much better that food was for you, it's a no-brainer to want it. So exactly like you're talking about, even in the health aspect, once you start learning, might seem a little bit, take a deep breath, might seem a little bit a lot to look at all the different things that you're taking in. But if you know in the long run that you're going to be better off for it, then you have to have enough willpower to push through and get to the end result no matter what.
Yeah, and I always say change is not something to be feared.
Yeah.
When you look at change, if you want something you've never had before, like you want a physique, you want a financial stability feeling, you want something that you've never had before, great. Now you know you have to do actions you have never done before.
Yes.
And that level of change is so hard for people to want to desire to walk through. But on the other side of the change and making those 1% increments every single day, those little changes, they compound over time. And that compounding is where you're going to find success.
Yeah.
So
that's so good.
I was going to say change in a high level space is not about like, we're going to change your whole life overnight.
Yeah.
It's because we know that that's not sustainable. You can't have a 50-pound weight loss journey in a matter of 30 days and expect that to be sustainable. Any changes that you have to make, it has to be in the context of, hey, we're going to assess, then we're going to decide.
Yeah.
Because when you slow it down and you assess, okay, what is a specific timeline for you to get your finances in order? What is a specific time for you to get your health in order? And does the actual timeline match up with your goal?
Yeah.
Because that's where I feel like a lot of people get into so much stress. And right now we're getting into tax season. So how many people after the holidays, they get through January, the end of January, they're flipping to like tax season's coming soon, stress.
Yeah.
Because they're anticipating a hard change season of life where they have to confront what they neglected the whole year.
So good. So good. And I would venture to say, and I'm assuming, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just like in my business, when someone works with me, I've not had one person after they work with me then say, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And same thing I would imagine for you. You know, no one works with you, puts in the hard work, and then on the other side is like, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I, you know, almost 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, started Orange Theory and worked out at Orange Theory for a year before they closed locally. But I would do it all over again. Was it hard in the beginning? Absolutely. I was incredibly out of shape and 40 pounds overweight. So was it hard? Sure. Am I glad I did it? Absolutely. And now I'm in the best health of my life. So I would venture to guess that you have those stories too, where people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that if I cut this one thing out, this 1%, how much better I would feel. Same, you know, people are, I didn't know if I could just get control of my finances, how much that would help me sleep better at night and not live in a state of stress.
Yeah, when you're working in high class coaching environments that have a standard that is set so high, a lot of the times they can intimidate people.
Yeah.
But that standard is set for a reason, is because any high value standard is easier than what you are doing now.
Yes.
Any high value standard for finances allows clarity and peace around your finances.
Yeah.
Same thing with health and wellness. When you are dealing with world-renowned professionals and you're able to really dive all in on you, really gain clarity on what you specifically need to work on, great. How many times do people start with me and nutrition and exercise are on the back burner? I'm like, we don't even start with that.
I love it.
Because there are so many other things. We got to simplify your life first. Let's simplify your life. Let's eliminate things that don't matter anymore. They mattered in your 20s. Why are you still holding on to that? Let that weight go, and you're going to pick up a different one.
So good.
Because in every season of life, just like every season of your, business with finances, it's going to change. Yeah. It's going to adapt. It's going to require something different, a different level of attention. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, is they anticipate it's going to be the same story as when they were in their 20s, when they were in their 30s. Because the reality is, when we're in our 20s, we know nothing about money.
For sure.
Most of the time, people don't know how to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And the lack of knowledge is what keeps you in that scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
It's because you've never had the lived experience, you've never had the learning opportunities, or you've never met someone who is knowledgeable enough to guide you in the right direction.
So good. And you asked me earlier about, if I could tell somebody something that would help them see long term. I think a lot of people, because all they've ever known or done are spreadsheets. And I would venture to guess for you, a lot of people, all they've ever done are hour-long, workout sessions, or macros or whatever it is. And it seems taxing. And when I tell people also, if you will give me a little bit of your time on the front end, that within 45 days, that for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I spend about 10 minutes every morning looking at all of my companies and my personal household budget, and I know where everything stands. And if they will give me that time, then in 45 days, it will be a little bit of time with an incredible amount of result. And I would venture to guess that yours is similar. There's just a few little changes that are going to have the biggest impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I dove into working with you, some things that I noticed going through my budget, there were some things that I had signed up for years ago that I'm still getting charged for.
Yes.
So doing a deep dive assessment to how could I have overlooked this? It wasn't like a $20, Apple Pay charge. It was like $300 for wellness services. Yeah. And I haven't even been in that state for years. And it was like, wow, every single month I've been charged all of this.
Yeah.
So the awareness for me was like, wow, I started adding it up and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. That's another thing that people tell me is they're like, I have a financial person that does my books. Or I have a financial person that even works in my office and they categorize every day. And I do appreciate that. But as business owners, we look at everything, we look at our own money much differently than the average person. Somebody might just want to categorize, whereas we're going to really dissect what is that and do I really need that? A great example for me is I went to a cheer competition with my daughter one time and there were $20 Fabletics workout pants. And she's like, can I get some? I'm like, sure, $20. You get 2 for 20. We got 2 for 20. You signed up to be a VIP member. I just figured I'm collecting stars or whatever to use at a later date. No, it had been charging me $59 a month. Now, I wasn't looking at that. My husband, even at the time, was looking at that. He just thought it was one of my monthly charges in my business. And I was like, oh my goodness, so you're exactly right. Until we take a deep dive, that's why I really encourage people. I don't care what level you are. If you can work within a system that you can look at what your money is doing every day, that is the best place to be. And my dad owns several businesses and retired now and travels all over the world and has done very well. And I know for a fact that he looked at that every single day growing up in our businesses. And so it's so important. But the problem is, right, we think, or as a business owner, we are like so overwhelmed with that we think this is going to take me too much time. I barely have enough time to run the business. I barely have enough time to do the things that only I can do, meet with the clients the way only I can meet with. And so the system that I teach allows you to do it in a very small amount of time, but have great control on it, over it. And you're right. Tax season, oh my gosh, I'm talking to all kinds of clients right now and they're like, yeah, I have a box full of receipts. No, with my system, you don't have receipts. You don't have receipts. All you do is know that it's being categorized and maybe you can put a memo on it if you need a specific memo. But no, you don't have to keep every single receipt. Every single quarter, I download a CSV file, send it over to my accountant, and he can look at what's going on in every single one of our businesses. So it makes it easier all the way around.
Yeah, because I was even asking my CPA, I'm like, how did we miss this $300 charge every month? The wellness place that it was from looked just like Whole Foods. And actually,
Interesting.
so we just thought it was like grocery bills. It's like Counts is spending a lot on groceries. And that's what they were categorized to. So it was just really interesting to see like, wow, some of these companies are like that was a very close language in that line, So it's just really interesting to see in certain seasons of life. I recommend everyone to prioritize something specific and go all in on it. If you are the type of person that is needing to work on your health, don't just dabble. Don't just look at Instagram influencers. Don't just go on Google and look up nutrition advice. Go all in. Because that's how you achieve remarkable results in an expedited time. And it gives you the freedom now to have a setup goal. This is what we call them, setup goals. When you get done with the first goal, what's next? We're going to set up that next goal. Then when you achieve that, we're going to set up the next one. And I firmly believe the most successful people in life look in all areas. Where am I the weakest? Am I the weakest financially? Great. That's what I need to prioritize now as the next setup goal to really feel aligned with my life. Because on the other side of you understanding your finances, understanding your budgeting, understanding where your life is heading in the future and really looking at that long game, maybe it's having a wealth plan that's projected.
Absolutely.
Anytime you can get all of those things in order, your nervous system can finally relax. You can finally sleep at night. You can finally feel that inner peace that you are in a safe place. And I think that's what most people are so used to, living in fight or flight. And that's normal. I've always lived in fight or flight. So they will self-sabotage. They will overspend. They will do all of these very immature
Yeah.
Behavioral loops, because they're acting out on childhood behavior from things that they had learned. So in order to really progress with your finances in the future, you have to adopt, or you have to let go first of the childhood behavioral loops and now step into that growth mindset and allow your adulting behavioral loops to really form, take hold, and evolve into what the future looks like. Because for most my followers, you guys are all parents for the most part. And not only are you thinking of yourself, but now you're thinking of the longevity of your kids.
Yes.
And how does that for you? Where do you see a lot of monumental shifts for people when they can now look at their budget and now they can clearly see the future for their family?
Yeah. Well, gosh, so many things right there. Number one, you went back to that childhood, you know, hang-ups or the things that you learned when you were a child. And I just want to say again, just as a reminder, that our grandparents, they used cash to pay for things.
Yeah.
And then we had our parents, and they actually, I don't know if you remember, but I remember my parents sitting down and reconciling a checkbook. And then our generation came along, and we have Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We have debit, credit. We have money flying so fast that it's not even realistic to sit down and reconcile a checkbook.
Yeah.
You could do it, but a lot of work and a lot of time that you probably don't have if you're building businesses. So again, I've learned, I think, through all of this over the last year and a half, that my true north for me is providing safe places. We did it in our dog kennel by providing a safe place for special needs people to work. We did it when we built the Haven House. We have a place where women can live and feel safe while they're getting control of their life. And then now I do it in people's finances, help them have a safe place where they can look at it and become masters of it and not stay on those childhood loops. So gosh, I think that is such a great reminder and something I just want to drive home, because if there's one thing that the very first client that I ever worked with, she said to me, Jody, I would rather stand in front of you naked than show you my finances. And we laughed because it's kind of funny, but it really drove home for me. I was like, this is very vulnerable. This is very hard for people. You want to feel like you're good with it, and most of us are not. And then you start looking at it and you're just, hit straight in the face with the fact that I got to change some things. I got to get some things in order and in control. And so, man, I just want to say, that's what you want to find, whether it's me or someone else. You just want to find someone that's going to guide you through that, because you don't want to stay in the same place. You don't want to stay in the same place of eating plastics and, not being your healthiest self, or living in a place where you need to be detoxed. You don't want to live in that state. You don't want to live in a state of stress with your finances. And it does not happen by accident, just like in your realm, it doesn't happen by accident. Nobody accidentally detoxes, right? So all of those things are so needed, but you have to be intentional, and you have to decide, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to push through those feelings, because the feelings are not so good, or don't always feel great. But I heard somebody tell me one time, actually my son, and he told me, he said, Mom, feelings are real, but they lie to you. And I was like, word, isn't that the truth? Yeah. Feelings are real, but they lie to you. You don't feel, I didn't feel like getting up and going to work out at Orange Theory, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this. But they lied to me, because now I'm in the best shape of my life. So, man, I can't stress enough the importance of deciding, like you said, to focus on something and deciding, I am going to conquer that thing. I am going to overcome that thing. I heard Ed Milet, who I'm a huge fan of, he spoke one time, and he shared about one more time. He shared about his father going to rehab one more time. And he actually asked his dad before he went to rehab again. He said, Dad, you've done it so many times. And he said, I was probably about 16 years old. And he was like, why is this going to be different? And his dad said, hey, Ed, I've got to try one more time, or I'm going to lose my family. And he didn't know if that time would click, but it did. And because of that, it taught Ed Milet to try one more time. And now he speaks, a motivational speaker, has a following of millions, and speaks to people about trying one more time. So I want to challenge you, whether it's your health or whether it's your finances, whether you say, I've tried a spreadsheet before, I've tried an app before, it is not hard. I can tell you that just like having a coach like Callan to walk you through all of your health aspects of your life and look at every single aspect, not just getting to look like a bodybuilder, but all the important aspects. Same thing with your finances. To have a coach that walks you through. I didn't share this part, but Jonathan and I actually, when we started using the system that we use, I logged in, I kind of set it up, and I worked with it for about 3 months. And it was just, there's a couple of nuances I just couldn't figure out. And we had, 4 other companies besides our household budget I was trying to get in order. And I actually reached out and hired a coach, just like what I do now. And it changed everything within a very short amount of time. Like you were talking about earlier, when you have guidance, it expedites your results. And that's what you do. That's what I do, is I help you get to that end result faster, because that's really where you want to be. You don't want all the different things that you got to do. We have to do all those, but if we can get there the fastest, that's what we want to do.
Yeah. And I just want to speak upon resistance, because a lot of people are like, I want the result. I want this. But now more than ever, we are in the biggest trust recession out there. Is because when social media, and like this goes back to like the money that you were talking about. I remember as a kid, I had dollar bills in my hand all the time, and I was like going to get candy, or, like we had the change, we had our piggy banks, we were collecting change. And how things have evolved to, like, I remember getting my first ever credit card in college, and I was like, what do I do with this thing? Like, do I get something back? Do I get change back? Oh no, like I had to really learn and understand what is it, what does a credit and debit card do? Because I was so conditioned to cash and change. Or writing a check. And when you live in the realm of cash, change, or writing a check, if you don't have that physical object in your hand, you don't have enough of it, you cannot pay for it. So it made our buying choices a little bit harder. And when you have plastic right now, and you can just slide it anywhere, tap your phone, do all the things. Right now, we're at this crazy buying frenzy. And with that being said, a lot of the coaches in the space, when social media launched and ads launched, and there were some coaches that weren't seasoned, that weren't the level of expertise. And this is where that trust recession came from, is people who weren't advanced enough to be educating on that specific topic. So what do people do with their new credit cards and their Apple Tap to Pay everything? They're buying services from all of these coaches that aren't of the caliber of the results that they want.
So good.
So I fully understand why there is a trust recession with coaches. And what I would always recommend to people is follow the expert that you think is going to point you in the right direction. Make sure that your values are aligned. That if you are the type of person that is deep rooted in faith, make sure that they are deep rooted in faith. Like, there's a lot of things that have to feel in alignment. And notice the circles of people that they hang out with. Are they successful? Are they cheering other people on? Are they wanting to go to the next level? So when you're watching a coach, it's not only just about what is their capacity, what is their ability to lead, what is their ability to communicate, or be able to offer the right guidance because they have the credentials. But it's also really evaluating who are they associating themselves with. Because to me, that'll tell a lot about your character, is who your inner circle is.
For sure. Oh, so good, Callan. So good. And I think it is so important. And obviously ask for, people that they're currently working with, so that you can hear from them. In my line of work, I would have to ask permission from those people, because I'm very private about who I work with. But I have a lot of people that have gone live on Instagram and shared about their journey of working with me. So you want to research all of that and make sure that it is, and even understand the system. I love what you said. If you have a credit card, if you had your bank account, if you had money, that was actually what you had to spend, not this money that is credit or, Apple Pay, which really can also be money that's being loaned to you. And that's how the system works that I work with. You cannot spend money. I guess you could, but you should not spend money unless you've allocated for it.
Yes.
So if you bring in $50,000, your paycheck for the month, then we're taking that 50 and we are assigning it a job. You are being proactive, saying this is where I'm going to spend it. And it's all electronic. So you can check it on your app. You can kind of follow along with it, but you can very specifically see this is what my money's doing this month. And it's a beautiful thing when I work with people, like I worked with a mortgage broker the other day. And she said, Jody, I made, almost $100,000 2 months ago, and last month I made $400, so that's fluctuating income. So the system that I work with allows you to take that income that you've made and actually apply it to several months in advance. I work with all my clients to where they are fully funded 3 months in advance. And then I even go a step further and we start to work on their business budgets, because a lot of people don't even do that correctly. If they make $10,000, then they think they have $10,000 to spend, instead of realizing a portion of that has to go to taxes, a portion of that should go to owner's pay, a portion of that should go to operating expenses, all of that. And then I actually partner with a fractional CFO, and she'll come in and she'll dissect what you're spending and whether you're doing it correctly in your business side. Yeah. So, there is so many things that are so important if you're functioning at this kind of level. If you want your life to be all that it's meant to be, I'm a huge believer in we are just given money to steward. And, the stewarding of that money is used so that we can impact our community, our world. It's not just for us to buy a better purse. It really is for us to figure out how can we make this world a better place. And so I work with a lot of my clients on that. Like, what are you passionate about? TD Jakes says it best. He says, if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion, because your passion will lead you to your purpose. And all of those things are important. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Let me say that when I was a nurse and my husband was a police officer and we were living paycheck to paycheck, we were stressed about money. When I was making 6 figures a month, I was still stressed about money. So the amount of money, a lot of people think if I just made a little bit more money, then I would feel better. I would have more. I would do better. That's not true. It doesn't matter whether you have a little or a lot. Control comes from looking at where you're spending it and making sure that you're spending it on purpose.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with money maturity and how you allocate your money.
Yes.
Because when you look at it through the frame of what I would call, I've had an immature mindset with food or with finances before, where as soon as I would make money, I'd spend it.
Sure.
Make it, spend it. I earned it, spend it.
Yeah.
And when you fall into that behavioral loop, that can be very toxic. To where there are certain seasons of my life, and this being one of them, where I'm really simplifying my personal life and personal expenses so that I can reallocate to things that are going to really pay back in the long run. Yeah. And I may not see, it may show as a loss right now, but those investments are going to compound over time and create more opportunity for me in the future.
Yes.
So sometimes you have to really step back and read your behavior, read what's coming in, what's coming out. And is there a way that you can reallocate and organize to where, okay, maybe right now I need to do a little less personally, but it's because I'm thinking solely on my future.
Yeah, so good. One of my 6-figure month coaching clients that has an incredible business. She says, once I got my finances where I could clearly see them and I felt calm about those, now I'm able to take my business to the next level because I'm not spending a lot of time and energy focused on, oh, am I juggling this right? Is everything getting paid? I mean, now she clearly sees it. She's filled up her budget plan money-wise several months in advance. She's investing. She's hired a fractional CFO. She is doing all the right things. And so because of that, she can dream bigger and better and impact more people. And so I agree with you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what we're in the business game for. I'm not doing health for my health. You're
Yes.
not doing finances because you just want to and because it's going to be a gain for you. What we
Yeah.
firmly desire for anyone who is looking to live a better quality of life, like that's what we're in it for. Like we know what we provide is going to allow you to finally reach that freedom that you've always dreamed of.
Yeah.
And I think
So
that's,
good.
we have so much comfortability in our ability to execute. In the same thing with the inner circle that, you know, with Iconic, the agency, with everyone involved there, they have such high level skill sets that they can confidently say, we know we're going to provide the transformation.
Yeah.
But do you understand the value of what that means for you?
Yeah. Yeah. And it really is about greater impact, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it really, I can say, I told my husband recently, I was like, hey, if I ever win the lottery, now you should know, I don't even know how to play the lottery. I'm not a big lottery person, but, and he looked at me like, you don't play the lottery. But I was like, if I did, and I just had $1 billion, I would still coach this. Believe it or not, I would
Yeah.
still do it because I am watching it transform relationships, transform marriages. You spoke on it a little earlier, legacy.
Mm.
Now I'm teaching the parents something that they're going to be able to now teach their children. And just imagine for a minute if we all started with this kind of control at 18 when we left home, or 22 whenever college ended. That is legacy impacting. And so, man, that's what pushes my button. So whether I made this my livelihood, or if it was just something that I'm passionate about, I'm so passionate about it because I've watched people be destroyed when things change.
Mm.
And things change. So I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, "Well," she said, "that that kind of business, it tends to do that." I go, "Oh, hold on a minute." When I was a nursing supervisor for the hospital, I was working at the hospital, and one day the director of nursing came in and fired 50 nurses. So I don't care what kind of business you're a part of, nothing is guaranteed. So you better have control of your own, world, because that's the only thing that you have when somebody walks in and takes all that away. So there's no guarantees. You want to have clarity so that you know exactly where you're headed and what you're doing.
Yeah, and the same way with your health. You're not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow breathing. And when we really focus in on that, we share so much in our space. You are your greatest asset.
Yeah.
In order to really be present for the people around you, to be the entrepreneur, the business professional that you want to be, in order for you to be your best, you have to serve yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And truly knowing who you are, what your purpose is, and how to steward your body as God intended, that type of intentionality, anyone will have an incredible life.
Yeah. Oh, so good, Kellen.
And I want to dive into, so Jody has helped me really understand over a year ago, I started really investing into my faith. And from a deeper level. And Jody shared some information with me on how to really learn the Bible from a different perspective.
I love
Do you
it.
want to share with everyone what that looks like for you both?
Sure. Yeah, if you go to my website, or you can even, I have a little PDF that you can download. But, the bottom line is what I've learned. Somebody said to me like a couple years ago, they were like, Jody, you are so good. Like, you're so good that you get up every morning and you spend time in the Bible, and you kind of get your mind reset, and you just, I so admire you. And I said, hold on a minute. The reason that I get up every single morning is because we all have life coming at us, right? All different kinds of things that are stressors. And if I don't spend time every single morning resetting my mind spiritually, physically, mentally, all of my body, if I don't spend time resetting that, then about by 1 o'clock, I want to slap somebody. And you guys, that is not helpful. I don't know if you've been there, but that does not help anything. And so, man, to get up every morning and spend some time resetting your mind, people will say, manifest what you want the world to be. And I heard somebody recently talking about manifestation, and somebody else said to me, does that offend you? And I was like, no, that's scriptural. That is scriptural, you guys. As a man thinks, so is he. That is a scripture. And so I'm here to tell you that if you think it, if you imagine it, if you desire it, if you make a vision board of it, and don't roll your eyes on the whole vision board, Harvard Business School followed a whole group of graduates for 10 years. And the people that wrote down their vision, that physically wrote down where they wanted to be in 10 years, 97% of them had met those goals. So I'm here to tell you that it does make a difference. So every single morning I sit down, I take some time to get my mind in order. I have a conversation, I have my coffee, I have a conversation with the Lord, whatever is your thing. I think sitting down and taking that time to reset is so valuable. And I'll share with Callan and she can share, but I actually have a PDF that kind of walks you through that, both how I pray and also how I study the Bible, because it is overwhelming, just like finances, just like health. Sometimes even that can be overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you that it will make all the difference in the world. And it is my faith. It is my faith that totally took me through that time of losing that business. I haven't even shared, but I lost my mom over 25 years ago in a house fire at my house. She was my best friend. And so it was the faith that I had that took me through that. Was it easy? No. Was it easy to go through losing a business like that? No. But I kept reminding myself of, in fact, my scripture over the last year and a half has been Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. It says, remember not the former things. Consider not the days of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and I will make rivers in the desert. And so you guys, man, he is a God that is true to his word. And so if that's anything that you want to know more about, even if it's not related to finances or budgeting, you can absolutely reach out, because even before I got on here today, I was just like, you know what? I know that the biggest impact that I can make is to offer hope, whether it's hope in your finances, hope in life. And just like, that's what I believe Callan does. She provides hope with health. And I think it's so interesting. I had a business coach probably 4 years ago say to me, she said, list between 1 and 10 things that are most important to you all the way down to least. So the top 10 things. And when I started, I was like, God, family, blah, 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 blah. Well, her list, she's about 10 years older than I am, and her list started with health because she had a health crisis. And it is so true that health is so important. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have your health. And that's what she kept telling me. She said, Jody, it doesn't matter how much money you make in life if you don't have your health. So it has to be a priority. If it's not your priority for this first quarter of 2026, I would challenge you to look at it at the second quarter or the third quarter, because it alone also will make all the difference in your world.
Yeah. First of all, I want to really share my sympathy for your loss and know that this is what has helped mold you into the woman of faith who has so much strength that you are today.
Oh, thank you, friend.
And we appreciate you so much and everything that you do. And we feel the alignment and, understanding that when it does come to your health, some people can really think that it feels personal. You live in your body every single day, and so many feel maybe confused of, I think my body's trying to communicate with me, but I just don't know what it means. I don't know what these symptoms mean. Why do I have dry skin? Why is my hair falling out? Why do I have dry eyes? Why do I get bloating every time I eat? And your body is not just giving you symptoms because it wants to give you symptoms.
Yes.
It's reacting to inputs.
Yeah.
And the inputs you gave your body when you were 20 are not the same as it's experiencing when you're 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding that we call it learning the language of your body. That's why things are so different in our space, is we don't just give you a plan and say, hey, be on your way. Give us feedback along the way. We'll make adjustments, and that's it. That's what I used to coach years ago. And then I realized that's not the answer. People are going to constantly be needing a new plan.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fighting the same symptoms. So I ended up getting into the real scientific mode, because my brain just works in a science way, and understanding, what if we could reverse food sensitivities? What if we could reverse all symptoms? What do the symptoms actually mean? And started asking deeper, more intentional questions about alignment instead of outsourcing your power of your body, of saying like, I need medicine, I need XYZ, I need an expert, I need surgery, I need to, get this taken care of. And really bringing things back in and asking your body, what do I need in this season of life? And really getting it to turn online again.
So good.
And I think that is something that I've had the surgeries before. I've outsourced my power so many times, and I can speak from experience with this, that I have learned greater knowledge of my actual vessel in this season of life than I have my entire living. It was 28 years old when my body started to come online. And now I'm sitting here 10 years later at 38 and finally feeling that circuit fully plugged in. Now, does that mean that I have reached optimal health? In my opinion, I would actually challenge that and say no, because I'm a firm believer that there are so many layers of health and so many levels that you can unlock and reach that I will always be striving for that next level of success with my health.
Yeah.
And in our space, we all adopt the same philosophy of like, yeah, I feel good right now. I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm really showing up, so dialed in. But everybody knows there's another tier. There's another level I can unlock. There's another fountain of knowledge I can go visit in order to really identify, have I lived a life that is so fulfilled? And I've learned everything that I possibly could, because when you really get deep into the health and wellness space, boy, there's layers and layers and layers and rabbit holes and things that may apply to you, things that don't, and, new German medicine, Chinese medicine, there's all sorts of things that you can gain. And it's just so fascinating and exciting. And I think the financial world is so much like that too. I think there's so much, once you get that sense of freedom, you start asking yourself, ooh, what can I learn next about financially? How can I budget my finances better this way? And it starts opening and expanding your mindset. And when you live, because you recommended this to me, the expansion mandate.
So good, right?
Share. I want you to share, because I have not read it yet. I did buy it.
Oh my goodness.
You got to share with everyone, what is the expansion mandate?
Okay, so first of all, we'll have to tag her in the comments here, but Rachel Wortman is a wealth of information. And she wrote a book called The Money Mandate, which is fabulous. And I read that. I highly recommend that book. It's a biblical view about money. And it's really challenging because I grew up in the church and I thought I knew all these different little things. And she really challenged some of those things that I had been told because she backed up really the truth in scripture. So I absolutely suggest that. And then the expansion mandate is about how we are mandated to expand our world, to expand our network, and to help as many people as possible. But the truth is, before we reach that promised land, that's probably just like Callan shared, always changing, always growing, there are battles that you're going to have to go through that are fully going to prepare you to be the best that you can be for that promised land. And I think that book really opened my eyes and reminded me, because I know this. I tell my children, when I shared with my children recently that I had a health diagnosis, I said to them, hey, have we experienced things that seemed hard at the time? And they were like, yeah. And I said, but then looking back, we can see how God's hand was all on it. And they were like, yeah. And so I love that about the book Expansion Mandate, because it really allows you to be reminded that even when you're going through different battles, all of those battles are leading up to making you the exact person that you need to be to fulfill the exact things that you're going to fulfill in this world. And it's always growing, always changing. There's no dead stop. So gosh, I highly recommend that book. It is phenomenal, and will absolutely challenge you and encourage you all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into that one. It's going to be so good.
It is.
Now, isn't it interesting how in certain seasons of our life, people are positioned there for a reason? Like God is ultimately playing this beautiful game of chess, and really positioning the people that you need in this point in your life to help you reach that next level of success. And it is very interesting how sometimes I will act on it like, ooh, I feel like this is a calling here. Someone's calling me higher. And then there are other times where you feel that resistance of, I know I probably should, but you're feeling that resistance.
Yeah. I think, and let me just say that what I've learned in my old age of 55 is that when I am obedient to that nudge, when I feel like this is what I think I'm supposed to do, I'm not completely sure if it's what I want to do or what really God's leading me to do. If I walk in that direction, He's always very faithful to, if it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, to kind of cut it off. And so I challenge people, don't be afraid to walk in the direction that you feel like He's calling you in. Becoming your budget bestie was one of those. You know, I literally argued with the Lord for about a week, back and forth about it. I was like, are you sure? I don't know. This is crazy. Once I said, okay, let me walk in this direction and you close it down. If you're like, no, that wasn't what I was saying. And man, door after door after door just kept opening up. And it is really, truly when I come alive. I'm sure you can speak to this, Callan, too, that it is when I come alive, when I am working with somebody and the light bulb starts to come on. I'm working with a financial guru in New York City. And yesterday we met, and we've met several times over the last 3 months. But yesterday I saw the peace on his face. And at the very end of our meeting, I said, hey, I just want to say something, and it's going to be emotional, so I don't want to overwhelm you as a woman, but I just want to tell you, thank you for pushing through, because it was hard. It was hard to push through and try to figure out the plan and all the things that he had. Both, I mean, he has 3 businesses and his household and all of it. But now I see the peace and the control, and he's not even fully there. We're still working together and getting there, but I could see in his spirit how it was starting to just affect him positively. And so again, I would just challenge anybody. Right now, you might be listening to this and you might be thinking, oh, my heart is beating. I don't know. Let me just tell you, I've had those moments in my life where my heart was beating and I was like, I don't know. And I walked in that direction, and it had been some of the best, most incredible breakthroughs that I ever experienced. The Lord cannot bless you with more if you can't steward what you currently have. And so you have to get control of it so that He can take you to another level financially, another level giving, all of the things. So man, I challenge everybody to decide, like Helen said, plug in, go all in on you so that you can have the best, greatest impact that you are meant to have.
Yeah, and that's what we all desire. We want freedom. We want confidence. We want clarity. We want certainty.
Yes.
When you have that level of certainty in your life, that creates calm in itself.
Yeah.
Of being able to know that if I eat XYZ foods, I know for certain the whole rest of the week I'm going to feel this way. I'm going to feel great. I'm going to fire on all cylinders. Well, you're going to prioritize that.
Yeah.
If you know for certain your finances are budgeted in a certain way and you have certainty, it's going to create the ROI that you want, the result that you want. Boy, you're going to prioritize that. And I think in today's society, it's a issue with not people having enough information. There's information overload. Yeah. I think it's truly a state of how are you prioritizing everything in your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do a lot of work.
We're not prioritizing it.
Exactly.
We're not prioritizing it and laying on the couch and scrolling.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that work in our space because first you have to understand, where's the mental mapping? What is your relationship with health? What does healthy actually mean for you?
Yeah.
And what are your priorities currently? Then what is your goal? And then really developing a clean strategy on how are we going to get you from, are there a lot of mental shifts that need to happen? Maybe your mindset's solid and we just actually need an action plan. So that's the beauty of customizing, is fully identifying where's the person starting at so I can meet you here in the moment and we can really strategize something that's going to fit the needs of your future. And that's why I firmly believe there's not a lot of long-term plans is because we are in the space of frameworks and teachings. And when you look at the perspective of prioritizing frameworks to understand, like, okay, in order to get a result, I know it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It is generally a framework that's going to include a combination of things that will allow you to expedite your ability to get a result. And I think that's what, in the coaching space that we experience, frameworks are so important. Trainings done the right way are so important, is because communication matters.
Yeah.
How you communicate to yourself, how you communicate to manifesting things in the future.
Yeah.
Communication is such an important part. And not only that, communication with the one and only.
For sure.
You have to lean on him to help guide you in the right direction.
Yeah. So good. So good. I love it. Is it James Cleary in Atomic Habits?
Yes.
That says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Yes.
And gosh, such a good word. We have to have those systems in place so that we can function easily and be the best version that we can be, for sure. Love that.
So good. Okay, Jody, I understand we're over time, and I do value your time sincerely. I appreciate you being here. And before you leave, though, I do want you to communicate with everyone. How are the different ways that people can work with you, and where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Your Budget Bestie, right here. And I have two different ways that I work with people. I have an online course that you can grab, and you can do at your speed. And then those people, once you've done the course, you can book me at an hourly rate for us to meet. And I can kind of look at it just to make sure you're on the right track, headed in the right direction. The majority of my clients are high achieving executives. So the majority of them I work with, they actually work at a level where they send me their information and I set up their budget. So they send me the last 4 months of their bank statements, the last 4 months of their credit card statements, and I build their plan based on what they're currently doing. Now we adjust that after they see what they're currently doing. They might think, oh, that's not exactly what I want to do, but I build it based on what they've done. And I do all of that while they sit back and sip tea or wine or whatever they do. And then we meet. I explain how it works, usually over an hour-long meeting. And then after that, we meet 2 to 3 times a week, and for 10 minutes at a time. And I begin to train them on the habit of how to manage this system. Super easy. It's very clear. And then we work together for about 45 days. I make sure I go through a month end, because there is a certain way to close out a month and start another month when you're working in the system. So I love it. I love all of the above. And I provided both of those because even though I do have a lot of high achieving clients, I know that there's also people that need a system that they can do on their own time. And so that's why I developed my online course. So it is, I would challenge you, no matter what you're doing, choose to do something. Find somebody that you can, that you believe in, that aligns with you, just like Callan said, and take the first step to make 2026 different. I had so many people last year, 2025, in January, February, March. I need to hire you. I need to do it. I need to hire you. Never did it. And then, 2025 came and went. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Make it a priority so that at the end of 2025, you can look back and say, okay, I did it. I did what I needed to do.
Jody, your passion is so magnetic. It is so refreshing to be able to visit with you today. And I thank you so much for your time and sharing your words of wisdom with the audience here. And I hope you have the most incredibly blessed weekend.
All right. You too, friends.
Thank you.
All right.
I will. Bye.